I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We can even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Well, Rob, that happened.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Filling in for Chris Williams, I'm Brent Blum with Rob Gray. Oh, my goodness. What a night. What a game. Iowa State falls to Arizona in overtime, and an all-timer in a lot of ways. Unfortunately for Iowa State, Cyclones come up on the short end, losing to Arizona in overtime. And, of course, all of our coverage from Cyclone Fanatic brought to you by Channel Seed, and, of course, our friends at Raymond James, Clay and Chase, Noodle Soul, and Keen Project Solutions. Well, not the result Iowa State wanted there, Rob, but man, that was an unbelievably high-level basketball game, and but just one of those. It's going to go down in the legacy of all-time protection needed groin kicks right there.
Yeah, the old cup, the cup shot preventer. I mean, you could use that. Yeah,
that's good. At multiple places.
You can position that to prevent like several touch blows. I mean, Caleb Love was 1 for 10 from 3 at the point he hit that 50-footer. 1 for 10. The Cyclones have done a great job against him. Preseason All-American, and that just goes to show, great players can make great plays. And, you don't want to harp on it. The Cyclones could have shot free throws better.
For sure.
Jefferson hits 2 free throws. That shot doesn't matter. He had a great second half, though, and I'm not going to denigrate anything Joshua Jefferson done because he's been fantastic. And he was really good tonight. But, again, little things lead to that type of outcome. And Arizona probably will tell you they didn't play their best game, but they played their best game when it mattered the most. And it comes at home for them. What'd they say? Their head coach has lost 4 games on that.
Yeah, it's like 95-4.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cyclones did almost everything they could to get a huge road win against a team that struggled in the non-con. They played a very challenging non-con, and it's clearly righted the ship. And I felt like when Iowa State didn't go behind immediately in overtime, there's like, okay, maybe that might not be a backbreaker, the Love, half quarter. But boy, the avalanche started, 11-0 run. And, at the same time, if you would have told me that Iowa State could survive Curtis Jones making one field goal on a goaltend and be in position outside of a miracle shot to win against the top 17 KenPom team on the road, that says a lot about how good Iowa State is, too. There will be a lot of overreaction, a lot of people, of course, angry and upset, as fans should be, and I guess or want to be. But big picture, this, if anything, I think this will strengthen Iowa State going forward.
It's interesting because if it's two conflicted feelings, like you can be crushed at the result, because that was an all-timer right there.
Yeah.
The funny part is, and I had a couple texts right away, and I appreciate my friends who texted me this because I was thinking the same thing. 2000, Iowa State goes to Boulder and is up 3 late against Colorado, and Jacque Walls hits a 45-footer to send that game into overtime. Colorado wins by 12, Rob, in that game.
Oh, wow.
25 years, almost to the day, team. Almost to the day.
Wow.
This time, Love from 65. And that team turned out fine. This team's going to be A-okay. I mean, it's one of those games where, man, it would have been great to have. Like, you would have really, on national television, the whole thing. But it doesn't change my opinion of this group. It's just a crusher. It's just one of those games that have been so fun to win, and one you remember for a long time, but you're going to remember it for other reasons, for sure. And let me get at some of the details I thought. I thought Lewis for them did an unbelievable good job on Curtis Jones.
Yeah,
I think you can Curtis did not play great. I think a lot of that was the defense by Arizona. And like C-Dub and I talked about yesterday, the length and the athleticism of Arizona's guards was a little bit unlike anything Iowa State has seen yet. I mean, they had some not only big guards, but really athletic guards, and I thought Love and Lewis did a really nice job. And it was weird because Curtis Jones and Caleb Love, who they highlighted, both, almost the same percentage-wise from the floor, but it's Love that hits the big one, and that's the game. And there's so many plays you can go back and look at in that final 2-minute stretch. Jefferson gets a monster rebound, but again only splits the pair. Iowa State wins the game if he makes both of those. The question I'm guessing a lot of people are asking right now is, do you foul there? That's a really tough situation. What, 2.2, 2.3, and
that's firing up a past half-court shot. I mean,
that's the hard. I mean, if I could do it over, maybe try and foul right there on the catch, Rob. But I bet if you did the percentages, the odds of making a 65-footer on the run like that are lower than making one free throw, getting a rebound, and tipping it out and getting a layup. Like, it's a lot. Still had to. He had the guy make a crazy shot, and he made it. And he made it. You tip your cap and you move on. But there's going to be some. That's a long flight home for those guys because there's going to be some second guessing. If I would have just done that, that could have been the difference in winning in regulation. And once they hit those 3 triples in a row in overtime, it was good work. See you next time.
Yeah, Owaka was. I mean,
great.
I was writing a quick recap from the beginning. It was like Toby Owaka couldn't miss, Curtis Jones couldn't hit, and that was kind of the story. When push comes to shove, what's going to happen? Who would have thought it's a Caleb Love more than half-court shot? But again, the margin of error is so low on the road. The Cyclones have found a way in most of these games. They've been down at halftime, I think, in 5 of them, and down.
Good point. Yeah,
down by not double digits, but more than 2 possessions in every road game. And they looked like they found a way again, right? I mean, they made so many good little plays to Murray and Watson. The corner three,
awesome. Yeah,
if you throw him in the right corner, man, I swear he's going to hit 100% of those.
Well, and then he had the back-to-back plays. He had that cut for a layup late, and then the defensive rebound that was huge. I mean,
nice
great
block.
minutes again. Yep, nice block.
I mean, Taman put this team on his back in the first half, though. I mean, Fran Fraschilla said he has a fractured thumb. All we knew was a thumb injury. I trust Fran that he has the inside information. But how good was he with 14 points in the first half? When that's what you had to have. But tie it all in again. Iowa State 16-0 run they gave up. You don't win games, you give up 16-0 runs. You just don't win those games. Yet Iowa State was in position to win that game, but for a miracle shot.
Yeah,
and that's what it should have, could have. But they still did enough things to be in a position where they needed to hit a miracle shot to extend the game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weeks where you're glad you have a couple days off here, or at least some rest, because you're mentally exhausted. That's a long road trip, by the way. Leave Friday morning, don't get back. They won't get back until, they'll take a charter home, but it'll be probably 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning by the time they arrive back in Ames, and then get K-State on Saturday. But I think the theme, Rob, here is so many opportunities, high-end game. That's as good as Arizona's looked all year to me competitively. Yeah. And, we said before the game, it'd be turnovers, rebounds. It would be a factor. And, I think all Iowa State fans are going, man, if you just clean up a couple boards there. Interestingly, I thought, Rob, Arizona with 13 offensive rebounds, which is a lot. Iowa State at 12.
Yeah.
So Iowa State's guards and actually Chatfield and Jackson both did a really nice job of keeping some possessions alive, but not a good enough job on the other end to clean up Owaka there for like a stretch there in the second half. So, man, one of those ones where I'm going to remember for a long time. I'm sure everybody else will as well if you stayed up for it. And this doesn't change the long-term projection for Iowa State. It does make, just to be honest here, it makes winning the conference a little bit more challenging just because you have to go to Houston, and now Houston 2 games up on Iowa State in the Big 12.
Yeah, exactly. And that's – it almost feels insurmountable the way Houston is playing, but every team hits their lulls. I mean, we're still got a lot of basketball left. It's late January. The thing that gets me in this game, and it's been somewhat happening recently. I mean, season high 18 turnovers for Iowa State, and some of those were forced, but it feels like when the Cyclones have been turning it over lately, it's not so much forced. It's over dribbling.
Yep.
into traps, over dribbling, into a guy strafing the ball away. And 22 to 5 points off turnovers. I mean, that's not the margin, but for Iowa, 22 to 15, sorry. That's not the margin, but that I think helps tell the story for how the Cyclones lost this game.
In an adjustment that Iowa State's going to have to make when you play those super big athletic teams that you can't just overpower, you're not going to get the whistle either. And I think a couple of times there, and those guys, man, it was combat in there. They weren't just, we're not going to call it. And a couple times I think Keyshawn and Curtis, specifically Taman as well, went in there thinking, okay, like you did the non-conference, you go in there, you go hard. If you miss it, you're going to get fouled. They weren't getting the calls. I mean, they let them. That was physical as all get out in there. And if that's the case, you go to plan B and C. And Iowa State really did by trying to get Jefferson and Jackson some post-ups. I thought Iowa State did a nice job adjusting there in the second half to get the big guys more involved. But, man, when those guards for Arizona can be that physical, it's hard. It's just really hard in there. And I think that was a big cause of the turnover troubles as well.
Yeah, and just such a weird game overall, too. I mean, Delosoro was the guy you looked at. It's like, oh, my God, what if that guy gets going from three?
Barely played.
He had nothing. 0 for 3, 12 minutes. They benched him more or less because he wasn't doing anything. I mean, Awaka, much better than usual. I think he almost doubled his season average scoring. 5 of 6 from the line from a 58% free throw shooter. I mean, again, those are the things that take a home team over the finish line. That and a miracle shot. In these type of high level games, like you said, and Iowa State will be better for it. The thing I'm concerned about is the narrative starting to shift. People are starting to say, "Oh, is Iowa State really a number 1 seed?" And all this stuff.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit of that. Yep.
And they got the good news for Iowa State is they got a lot of time to prove that they still are, especially starting with a suddenly, briefly resurgent K-State team. Which I doubt will be resurgent on Saturday. No offense, but I doubt will be resurgent on Saturday. And then a big Monday game at Kansas, who they probably can't believe how they lost to Houston in their last game. So a lot of fun games ahead. And it's, the Big 12 doesn't have the moniker or the tag of, hey, we're far better than everyone else now because of the SEC and all that, but still incredibly high level basketball. And this league is tough. And Cyclones are still very much in the hunt,
no doubt,
and not only for a number 1 seed, but for contending for a conference title.
Yeah, I would say again, this just doesn't change my feeling at all. I thought Iowa State was really impressive toughness wise. Didn't have their best again, and Cyclones drop it, but that's it. Ultimately, here's a stat for you, Rob. Curtis Jones under 10 points in a Big 12 game for the first time since that win over Houston in the Big 12 championship game. Way back last March. So he didn't have his best stuff. Again, credit the Arizona defense. I thought they were good. Waka came in and boarded the ball. Obviously, was still there in the end. And one of those games, just like Jacquay Walls 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll remember it. I hope it's another 25 years before we see another of those, though. I don't need to take that. I need my protection again.
I give credit to you because I didn't remember Jacquay Wall's name. But I did remember that game because of how many times Boulder was a house of horrors for Iowa State, even going back to the Orr era, where they'd win like 45 innings and go and lose in Boulder.
Remember my guy Justice Stickman hit that 3 though in '93. My friend Ryan Burchett from Mississippi River sent me that. So hey, at least we got one. We got one in Boulder once. Now we owe the McHale Center one after that result tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, Rob, always great to chat. Hopefully Williams makes it back safely from Tucson and all the Cyclone fans. Man, you guys sounded great down there, by the way. If you were down there, well done. Represented Iowa State well. Cyclones back in action Saturday. And what a recipe to get Jerome Tang back in town. 1 o'clock, Hilton Coliseum. It's a whiteout, everybody. Go say your pleasantries to Jerome Tang and get this group back on track. Cyclones fall in overtime. But what a thriller it was, 86-75 Arizona. I want to thank our sponsors for bringing you the coverage tonight and wishing you a very, very pleasant Tuesday morning.